Howdy folks, Jack the Wise here. Welcome to another Wise Take, which is apparently something that I'm calling my videos now. Today, we're going to be talking about early access Baldur's Gate 3, and my impressions of it. As a big-time Dungeons & Dragons fan, when I heard that Larian Studios was going to be making Baldur's Gate 3, I was pretty freaking excited. I bought it immediately and jumped right in. It's been kicking my ass in combat, with poor rolls, with bugs, yet I'm still having a damn good time. This game is far from perfect right now, but the promise of something glorious is just shining through. So today, I'm going to be breaking down what's good, what's bad, and whether or not you should pick it up. So let's jump right into this journey with what makes Baldur's Gate 3 great right off the bat. How does it look? From the intro cinematic to the embered-eyed tieflings, this game is beautiful. Oh my goodness. The characters look fantastic. The spells, well, they look pretty damn good. The animations, yeah, also pretty damn good. In an unsurprising fashion to anybody that knows me and my love for beards, I have an affinity towards playing dwarves with similarly fantastic beards. Admittedly, I still started as an elf, just because I wanted to min-max playing a wizard or a ranger, but this game made me regret not being a tiefling real quick. They are so ridiculously stunning and beautiful to look at. I've been tempted to restart as a warlock tiefling, but I've already got about 40 hours locked in 2 different playthroughs, so when the next round of classes come out, I'm definitely gonna dabble with tiefling. How does it play? The gameplay is honestly everything that I expected it would be. The combat feels reminiscent of Divinity 2, but so much more refined, and it's got this beautiful D&D theme painted all over it. If you've played any game like this, you're gonna feel right at home. One thing you're gonna learn about me, if you haven't already, is that I'm one hell of a nerd. And over the years, I've become an even bigger D&D nerd. I went back and dabbled with some of the original Baldur's Gates, the ones that use the older editions of D&D, but it didn't mean anything to me. Hopping into Baldur's Gate 3 though, it's crazy to see this be D&D 5th edition. There's just so much nerd glee coming into this brand new game and knowing what everything does already. Grease? Yeah, that makes sense. Fog Cloud? Hell yeah. Magic Missile? I'm so familiar with everything D&D related that out of my own familiarity with spells and feats, I'm not even reading tooltips. There are some things that have changed. I noticed it mostly with cantrips or minor spells and bonus actions, certain actions, but all of the changes were carefully curated to make sense of transitioning a tabletop RPG to video game glory. Or they're better utilizing the elemental dynamic that we're so used to knowing from Divinity. None of the changes have felt out of place so far. How's the writing? The actual story itself is pretty engaging. It's too soon and too early in available content to make any real judgment calls here, but there are a lot of really interesting aspects to the writing. The main story is mysterious, complicated in a good way, and there's this sense of urgency. All of these things are complemented by actual game mechanics. In the story, you essentially have this mind flayer parasite inside of you, and it's threatening to turn you into a mind flayer yourself. Each time you long rest, there's a little bit of worry that it could be the end of the game because you've wasted too much time. The parasite gives you certain benefits and dialogue options. It almost feels like a secondary evil route you can take with the game where the consequences and risks are even more prevalent. The side stories and quests come out of nowhere and just have this really big oomph to them. The companions, well, they remind me so much of Dragon Age Origins while having their own unique stories, and I absolutely love them. So far, I've met Shadowheart, Gale, and Lisa, the Gith Lady. Shadowheart is this trickster cleric version of Morrigan. Gale is this mysterious wizard version of Alistair, and the Gith Lady is, well, she's just Sten, but every good fantasy game needs a Sten, or at least like a Kunari equivalent. Mass Effect's had Rex, Grunt, and just the Krogan in general, and Baldursgate has Gith Lady in the Gith. The comparisons are pretty easily made at first, but once you start getting closer to them and learn about their backstories and the intricacies of these characters, it all starts to become a bit more apparent just how unique they actually are. Script writer's sidebar. I've put this video on hold and played a bunch more, and now I've come across the last remaining companions. Asterion, who honestly I have absolutely no idea how I missed my first go around. I guess I zigged instead of zagged. And Will, who I'm pretty sure died in my first playthrough, and I didn't even realize he was a companion, or I would have scrubbed that save so damn fast. Anyway, neither of them feel particularly inspired by Dragon Age, but I also have this sense of familiarity and mystery from them, and damn do I love them. And now, back to your regularly scheduled criticism for Baldur's Gate 3. What's currently available in early access? There is a vast amount of shit to actually choose from in this early access launch. The backgrounds, the classes, the subclasses, the races, the spells, the feats, the items. It's pretty crazy to think that there's still more to come. There's still plenty of things that are placeholder. Some of the backgrounds were unavailable. Some spells are either missing or purposefully removed. There are some classes and subclass options that either aren't available or just weren't chosen to be included in the game. But even with all of that, the amount that's actually present definitely fits within that of a $60 purchase. And the thought that we're going to be getting more is mind-blowing. Unfortunately, the game isn't perfect, so let's talk about that. I wound up hitting the level cap, well, a lot faster than I would have liked to. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of content to be played within the 4 levels, but it just feels like the content available exceeds the level you can get to. And for whatever reason, it lets you track experience to like halfway through level 4, and then it just tells you you've reached max level. It kind of came unexpectedly for me, and there's this big part of me that is just kind of scared that none of the experience I'm getting after cap will carry over when the next round of levels is released. This has unfortunately been the biggest reason I've tapered off from playing the game as a whole. Tying into the level cap, once you reach it, there's still a lot of content to go through, but it just feels like it was curated for level 5. I still have 3 different paths that I can take, but it just feels like there's something on all of those paths that's just meant for a level 5 party. One of the encounters is against a creature that every single attack it does practically one-shots a party member. Another is against a group of level 5 enemies who all get extra attacks and they're just whooping my ass. And I'm pretty sure that even if you just stumble across it, you're getting into a fight no matter what level you are. So you're probably just gonna lose every time you go there. There's also a very high chance that I just, well, suck at this game. Nothing I've said so far would be enough for me to tell you not to purchase this game in its current state. Unfortunately, this next bit is the biggest and only reason I would suggest waiting on official release to pick up this game. There are a lot of bugs, which is very much to be expected, and you're warned before even jumping into the game that this is going to be the case. However, some of them feel like a pretty big deterrent from the intended experience. I say this not to shit on Larian in any way, shape, or form. In fact, it's probably a moment to praise them. As of recording the audio for this, the game has officially been out a month, and they've released 4 hotfixes, some of which are massive lists of bug fixes. Some are just simple crash fixes, but the most important one is the animation polish that's been released. That's a crazy amount of work to get done in just a single month. With that being said, I can't even begin to imagine how many hours a single person can put into a game like this from start to finish. The biggest regret I have in purchasing this game now is that I'll have to go back and replay it to experience moments with polished animations or the removal of placeholder imagery. I've already played this game to level cap with 2 separate characters, and they've only just released the animation polish, which means I'm gonna have to go back a 3rd time to see the random tiefling bard perform an emotional song without looking like she's missing certain parts of her skeleton. I was able to romance one of the companions, and it was just a massive placeholder screen, which means that when they finally put that finalized content into the game, I'll have to go back again to see it in its steamy glory. I think this is a fantastic game, but the idea of having to replay something that's this much of a time sink just gets harder and harder to justify. The rest of the bugs that are in the game are pretty apparent, but they don't ruin the desired narrative or gameplay experience. There was a part of me that just kind of figured for a full $60 purchase of a game, at least the first few hours of the game would have this perfect polish pass. But I wound up experiencing some pretty glaring bugs before you even wind up leaving the tutorial section of the game. I can certainly tell you that this game is going to be a full recommend when it's all said and done. There's absolutely nothing but promise in each minute of gameplay and story that I came across. If you liked Divinity Original Sin, if you liked Wasteland, if you're a fan of this genre of game, if you like D&D in general, this game is going to be worth your money. It's just, well, it's not worth it yet. Not unless you can see yourself wanting to go back and replay it once the game has been fully completed and released. I'm really used to bugs. I'm used to replaying games over and over, or certain sections of games over and over. And because of that, I'm having a really good time with this game. But even with all that, I dread the idea of restarting from scratch to see what's changed with each update or official release. I'm a very predictable gamer. I'm most likely going to play exactly the same way I already have, maybe making a different choice in dialogue options here or there, but it's going to be like reading a book, except it'll take tens of hours instead of a day. If you don't give a damn about the bugs or the lack of polish, if you can see yourself hopping in and replaying over and over again as new content is released or fixed, if you can see yourself playing different styles with multiple runs, I could not recommend this game to you enough. Otherwise, wait, because I promise this game will be more than worth your money when it's all said and done. Oh hey! We finished another video. Thank you all so much for watching and continuing to support my quarter-life crisis of a YouTube channel that I hope becomes moderately successful. I've already got the next script written, and following in the footsteps of this, it's going to be D&D related. Right now, you're probably looking at my last video, The Haunting of Y Manor, and a video from my buddies over at Cold Soup. While deciding which one of these links you're going to click on, why don't you leave a comment down below telling me what class you'd like to play if and when you pick up the game. Or maybe you can roll a wisdom saving throw. If you fail, you gotta like, subscribe, and maybe even share the video. Thanks again!